Hello, my name is Jonathan. I run the Electric Flamingo channel on YouTube where we do a lot of guitar reviews, guitar setups, all that kind of stuff. And I'm only saying that because if you're watching this on behalf of Ashthorpe, they sent you this video because you just purchased one of their awesome guitars. Maybe specifically the one we have here, the Ashthorpe C-85 Acoustic-Electric. If you're watching this on YouTube and you've watched this far, hello, welcome back to my Pink Room of Doom. If you're a returning subscriber, if not, please make sure you do hit that subscribe button. So I do have a lot of videos on my channel where we do setups. In fact, I have a little series about it, Make Guitars Shred Again, if you would like to check that out. So if you don't get the information you need here, maybe you'll find it in one of those other videos. All of these tips are going to go across the board. You can use it on electrics, acoustics, doesn't matter. There are some differences, obviously, but I hope this helps you at least get your guitar playing how you like it to play. Now, you do not need a whole bunch of tools or anything. There are some things that I'm going to do that you don't have to do, but they will make your guitar play, sound, and look better depending on how you do it and where you do it and why you do it. So a couple things that you're going to need. New set of strings. We're going to be using these Ernie Ball Earthwoods. These are 11 to 52s. I have my toolbox here that's got a lot of stuff in it that I will talk to you guys about here in just a second. And something new that I got. I got this little cork neck rest thing on Amazon for like 15 bucks. So if you're working on guitars regularly, I would highly suggest you get one of those so it sets out your guitar straight and everything. But again, you don't need that. You can roll up a towel and put it under there and it works just the same. But I do this all the time, so I got that. But anyway, so let's go ahead and take a dive into setting this guitar up. So first things first, what you want to do is just play the guitar and see how it sounds, how it feels, all that kind of stuff. And if you even need to do a setup, there are a couple things that you can do while you're playing it. Check the action in the middle. So if it's hard to press down or you feel your finger starting to hurt, especially if you're like a seasoned player and you feel like it's really hard to play in the middle of the fretboard, you probably need to adjust your neck relief, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. Beyond the 12th fret, if things sound out of tune, if things are hard to play down here, then you have an intonation issue or your bridge is too high, which in this case, with this one, again, everything like that seems to be okay. But I'll show you guys how to make those adjustments on the off chance. You want to feel your frets to see if they are sharp. So if you run your fingers like this just down the edge of the fretboard and you feel them poking you or you feel like it's cutting you, that is fret sprout. Now that happens on inexpensive guitars, expensive guitars, all that kind of stuff. So don't worry if you do feel fret sprout. It's a little bit of fret sprout up here, but none that really needs to be corrected right now. So I'm not going to do that in this video. Again, this is going to be super duper simple setup stuff. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take off these strings. A tool that I always recommend having is one of these Ernie Ball power peg string winders. It's just a little battery powered drill thing, right? And it just helps you unwind your guitar strings a lot quicker. Or you could have one of these. This is a little multi-tool that's just got like a little string winder on it. These are super affordable on Amazon. This is like 10 bucks, but it's a string winder, an acoustic peg puller, and a string cutter. So we're going to be utilizing this 2 out of 3 ways, right? First, let's get the strings off there. All right, so we got the strings loosened on here, as you can see. There are a million ways to cut off your strings. Yes, people argue about this. Don't let anybody tell you that it's the right or wrong way, but I always like to cut them right here at the sound hole or like at the bridge, or not at the bridge, at the middle of the guitar, like where you pick. Because then you can just kind of come up here and just unwind them like that. You don't want to necessarily pull them. You just kind of want to unwind them. Now, if they're wound correctly, mind you, which these look like they are wound correctly, and we'll talk about how to properly wind your strings here in just a minute, then you should be able to just kind of pull and twist and they should come right off. Next step, we're going to take our acoustic pin puller here, which is this little piece right here. And what you're going to do is you're just going to slide that up under your acoustic pin at your bridge and just press up with a little bit of pressure. As you can see, it pops right out. That's your acoustic pin. And then you're going to pull your string out of there like that. And you see you'll have these little ball ends. That is what is catching in the pin to keep the string from going flying in the other direction. And by the way, if you're interested in any of these tools, I will leave a link down there in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube, if not, you can go find my YouTube channel, Electric Flamingo, and check the link in the description, and you can get these tools. Again, they're pretty affordable, and you don't need them, but they are great to have on hand, especially if you are going to be setting up guitars or changing strings or anything like that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to polish these frets. So what do you need to polish frets? Oh, it's right here in front of me. A couple things. So first off, you're going to need some of these. These are fret guards. So what they do is they lay on your fret like this, and they protect the fretboard when you are polishing your frets. Polishing your frets is super duper easy to do, very inexpensive, and to me, it helps your guitar play better on top of making it look better. What you will need after that is you'll need a piece of 0000 steel wool. Now, again, there are a million ways to polish your frets. This is just my preferred method. You can do your own research on that. They make a lot of, different kinds of pieces of equipment that do this. Some are pretty expensive. This is an inexpensive way to do it. You can get a bag of this stuff for super duper cheap. And this piece has seen better days. I need to get a new piece in reality. But here's what we're going to do. So you're going to take your fret guard. You're going to put it on one of your frets, which will actually start up here because that neck guard's in the way. And you're just going to take and hold it kind of like this at the sides. A little bit of pressure down so it stays in place. Take your steel wool, and you're just going to put medium pressure on there and just polish it up. Now, depending on how oxidized or how rusted or how just, dull your frets are, this can take a little bit. Use a little bit of elbow grease. With this grit of, or whatever level of steel wool, it's not going to be taking away any material. It's literally just taking off that top layer of grime. And then just to try to show you how effective this is, this fret right here is the one that we just polished. So you can see that even in the light, this one right here is much shinier. Feeling it, it's much smoother than even this one right up here. I can feel it's a little bit rougher. You can probably tell if my camera focuses that it's not quite as shiny as that one. And again, where you're really going to feel this is in your playing when you bend. You're going to feel it. It might sound scratchy. It might sound, just like, it won't sound good. Yes, that's an actual noise I just made on camera for everybody to see. So yeah, that this is not really a step that you have to do, but it's one that I recommend learning how to do just in case. Because this, I think, if you can fix it yourself cheaply like this, you're going to save yourself a lot of money, a lot of trips to music stores or to luthiers or techs or whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and finish all of this up on camera, and then I'll see you guys back here in just a second. All right, so I polished up the frets, and they came out looking spectacular. Up here, they were oxidized just a little bit, which it happens depending on where the guitar is stored, all that kind of stuff. But again, generally speaking, you can take and use that method and get a lot of that off, if not all of it. But these things are shiny and beautiful now. So what we're going to do, you're probably going to see on the body here, we have some metal shavings. Generally speaking, you can just kind of wipe those off. They're not going to damage your body or anything. If you do have pickups here, so if this was an electric guitar and you had pickups up here, a lot of people say that you need to tape those off so those shavings don't magnetize to them. If you do, okay. If not, you can wipe them off. They'll wipe off, right? So there's that. So the next step that we're going to do, hey, look at that. I'm even using some pink cloth for our pink guitar. Next thing we're going to do, again, this is not a necessary step. You don't have to do this, but we're going to make the guitar look a little bit nicer here by oiling the fretboard. So if you look at your fretboard and it looks dried out or dull or just really light, and it's a darker piece of wood like this, there is a remedy to it. This actually will help your fretboard. Now, there will be people out there saying, do not do this, but I'm telling you right now, it is okay. They make these products for your guitar for a reason. They're going to help. The things that I'm talking about are fretboard lemon oil. Now, you have a couple of choices. I have a couple of different choices here. This is a bottle of fretboard lemon oil spray from Guyker. I have a video on this on my channel where we check out the whole kit that comes with that, or some good old Dunlop 65 fretboard lemon oil. Either option is fine. I think I'm going to use the Guyker because I've really liked that one as of late, and I was a big fan of this stuff, but I've used that a lot, so I already know what it's like. I'm still kind of experimenting with this. So with the Guyker stuff, so what you're going to do, you want to make sure your fingerboard is kind of clean, right? Take an old toothbrush, and you can kind of just scrub your fingerboard like that, and maybe get some of those shavings off or get some dirt off or whatever. This one, again, is a brand new guitar, so it's pretty clean, and I've already wiped off those shavings and everything. But anyway, so with the fretboard lemon oil, what you want to do is you want to take, it's a spray bottle here. We're just going to take and spray a little bit on the fingerboard like this. Again, it's not going to hurt it. And something that I like to do, speaking of the toothbrush, is you can take your toothbrush and just kind of lightly work that stuff into your fingerboard. This one is not a spray bottle. This one is a little dabber with a little soft piece up there. You can actually do it at an acoustic on your bridge too, because it's a wooden bridge, right? So you just want to take and rub the lemon oil on the bridge down here, right? And you can tell already that that just looks so much better, right? It just darkens it up. It hydrates the wood. It keeps it looking nice. So let's go ahead and start to polish off the fretboard here and see what that looks like. And then you just want to kind of wipe off the excess, right? Just like that. Beautiful stuff. All right. Yeah, so that looks a lot better. You can even do the same thing down here at the bridge. Just kind of wipe off that excess after it's sat for a second or so. We're already making this thing look better than it did straight out of the box. Another tip, keep your work area clean. So I just cleaned up some stuff, put some bottles away, all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at our strings here. So again, these are 11 to 52 gauge, which just is the numbers at the bottom of the pack here. It just will tell you how thick the strings are. Acoustic strings are generally going to be thicker than electric strings, which is where a lot of people say that learning acoustic is a bit harder. Generally speaking, yes, if you have smaller hands, or maybe you haven't worked up the calluses yet to press down on the strings, it can generally be a little harder to play. So all packs of strings are different. These are individually wrapped here. So you can see there are 6 packs, one with each string, and they have the gauge labeled on them. The higher the number, the thicker the string. So the 52 is the low E, and then the 42 is the A, the 30 is the D, and so on and so forth. So with the electric acoustic, or any acoustic, not just electric acoustic, what you want to do here, take a string out. So we're going to start with the low E. So that's the thickest string. Ooh, it unraveled on me. You unravel it, and you can see you have a ball end here. The ball end is going to stick into the first hole here. You're going to take your peg, which generally speaking, they're all the same, but I would make sure that they are the same size and everything. So what I like to do is I like to stick the string in the hole, push it down in there quite a bit, take the peg, press the peg down, not all the way, pull the string up until you feel the ball end, like until you get the resistance and you start to pull the peg back out. Pull the string back and press the peg in at the same time. And press it pretty good. Don't put your full body weight on it because you'll cave the guitar in, but press it in there good because you don't want this peg flying out when you start to tune your guitar. So you want it to be in there nice and snug. And if it's a well-made guitar, they will fit in there nice and snug. So this one's in there. So it's good. That's a good sign of quality there. So we're going to take the string. We're going to feed it up into the tuner peg like this. And I'm actually going to bring a camera over here to show you how you're supposed to wind these strings. All right, so we have the string through the tuner peg. So you may hear things about people saying that you need to pull it and wrap it through, or you need to bend it and then pull it over and all that kind of stuff, something called the luthier's knot. Do not do that. You do not have to do that. Instead, what you can do, and I'm working at a weird angle here, you can pull the string all the way till it's tight. Then you want to pull the string back about a fret's length from the nut. So you want to go back just a little bit, give it a little bit of slack. Maybe that's too much. Just a little bit of slack. And you want to press down right at the base of the tuner peg. Then you want to take either your string winder, your electric one, or your hand or whatever, and wind the string. And notice the direction that I wind it in. Sorry, I had it come off the track there. But you see that I wound it where it's going up like that, not going this way. It's going this way to the tuner peg, to the right of the tuner peg. If you do that on a 3x3 headstock, that will keep everything in line. It'll keep everything in tune, and it'll keep everything. And it's simple like that. You just want the string to wrap underneath each other. You don't need any weird knots. You don't need any weird running it through the tuner peg. Do not run it through the tuner peg a million times. And once you tune it up, you just want to tune it up to where it is tight on the fingerboard. So you see it's not in tune yet. And you just want to repeat that process through the entire pack of strings. So put the ball end in the tuner or in the bridge, put the peg in there, pull the peg, make sure it's tight, run it all the way up through here, put it in there, hold it at the base like that, and wind it where it goes to the right of the tuner peg. All right, so we have these strings on the guitar. Now we're not in tune. Lovely. We're not in tune yet. We're practically done with our toolkits. I'm going to move it out of the way. But we're going to keep out the string cutter because now we have to snip the ends off. So yes, I know it looks really cool and punk rock if you have your strings flopping around everywhere like Tom Morello does sometimes. But trust me, it is an annoyance. It's more of an annoyance to deal with than you think. So what you want to do is you want to take your string cutters here, and you can just use wire cutters. You don't have to use this. But what you want to do is you want to snip these strings off as close to the peg as you can. So don't go up here and snip this and leave a long piece hanging on the end. That's the whole point, is to get rid of it, right? So you can literally just take and put this right at the base and just snip it as short as you can. That'll help minimize pricking your finger if you go up here to tune it and you miss it, because trust me, that hurts like a son of a gun, and you don't want to do that. So I'm going to snip these off really quickly. Now, again, don't worry if you don't get it right up against the peg. It's okay as long as they're not flailing around like they were. So now, again, we're not in tune. So now we're going to move on to the actual setup process. I know this has taken quite a while to get to it, but I wanted to show you guys how to clean your guitar and maintain it. So now we're at the actual setup process. So we're going to need a couple things for this. We're done with the big tools. So let me go ahead and show you what you're going to need for the setup process. All right, so again, not all of this is required, but most of it is, okay? First off, a pick. You don't need a pick, but you know, I play with a pick, so you're going to need one for in this case. You need a tuner, either a pedal tuner, one of the tuners you set on your desk and it like lights up and all that kind of stuff, like a mat tuner, whatever they're called, or just one of these little clip-on tuners. This is a Snark. You just clip it onto your headstock like that. They're super cheap. They're super accurate. I really like Snark tuners. Secondly, or thirdly, you'll need a straight edge. If you don't have one of these, you don't need one of these, but this helps to check the relief in your neck and make sure your neck is straight and all that kind of stuff. And then to help adjust the neck, you will need an Allen key. This is the Allen key that was provided with the guitar because we're going to adjust the truss rod. Now, while I'm taking this out of the bag here, a little note on the truss rod here. If you've ever researched setting up your guitar, you've probably heard people say, if you don't know what you're doing, don't mess with the truss rod. That's half true, because the truss rod, whatever, the truss rod is a rod that runs up the middle of the neck, and it basically helps keep the neck straight. So to adjust the truss rod in an acoustic, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be right in the sound hole, right up underneath the fingerboard. It'll look like a little screw, and that's where you stick your hex key in there and make your adjustments. So how do you do that? Well, first and foremost, you want to remember the acronym TRAIN. TRAIN, like a choo-choo train. T stands for tune. R is relief, which is the relief in your neck. A is your action, which is how high your string is off of the fingerboard or off of the fret. I is intonation. N, you can use it for nut or noodle. Nut meaning you check your nut up here, make sure it is good. Or noodle, just play around and see how it feels. And if it feels good, you're done with your setup. It's really that simple. So let's start with T for tune. So I'm going to take my headstock tuner here. We're going to put it up there, engage it. We're going to tune it to standard tuning. So that's E, A, D, G, B, E. So we're going to just tune the guitar like normal. All right. So we're going to be mostly in tune, better than we were before. So after you do your first initial tune, what I like to do is stretch the strings. The best way to do this is to just play the guitar. But initially what I like to do is just take the strings, kind of grab them and just give them a gentle tug like that. We did have the pin kind of pop up out of there just a little bit. That's okay if it does that. That's why you don't want to tug on it too much, right? Don't do too much upward force, especially on an acoustic guitar. You saw it happen there first. But yeah, like I said, the best way to do it is to just play it, or you could even take and bend them up and down like you're doing bends like this, and then just retune it. And if you have to do this a couple times, that's normal too. So there you go. So we did T. Again, it's probably still going to go out of tune a little bit. That's okay. That's part of the process. R is relief. Now, you can do this a couple of different ways. If you do not have a straight edge like this, what you can do is you can put the guitar into the playing position, which I'm just going to do it here as an example. And what you can do is you can press down on the first fret and then go to the last fret right down here. Press down on that with like your thumb. And then you can reach over to about the 12th, 13th fret with your index finger and just give the string a little bit of a tap. And what you're looking for is for the string to barely move. You want to be able, when you're pressing down on that first fret and that last fret, to be able to maybe slide a piece of paper underneath the frets, like the string and the fret, at like the 12th, 13th fret, somewhere like that. That's a great way to do that. Because in checking the relief, by the way, so if your guitar is like this, if your neck is like this, and it's too bent like this, your action in the middle of your fretboard is going to be atrociously high, and you're not going to be able to play it. If it's bent like this, like upward, like that, I can't do that with my other way of my hand. If it's bent upwards, you're going to get a lot of fret buzz, and it's going to be impossible to play because you're not going to be able to produce a sound. So that's where you want it to be. What the optimal setup here is you want it to be straight with a little bit of relief in the middle. So a little bit of that back bow, just a little bit. That gives enough clearance there and keeps the action nice and low everywhere else. So what you can do here in this neck check guitar's straight edge here is multi-sided, so it's got multiple different scale lengths on it. This side up here, and it says it on this little sticker on the front, this side up here is the 25.5. This is the 24 3/4. I don't know if this will work on this one because, oh yes, it will. No, it's a 25.5. I'm sorry. It's 25.5. That's the side that fits. So what you can do with the straight edge here is you can set it on the fingerboard, and you want to look underneath where the straight edge is on there and check for a little bit of relief under there. This looks like it might have a little bit too much relief. Just a little bit. So that's where you're going to make your adjustment, and we're going to flatten out the fretboard a little bit. So what we need to do now to straighten the neck is we're going to turn the truss rod clockwise. That's going to raise the neck to be more up like that. So like I said, if you look down in the sound hole here, stick it in there like that, kind of spin it around till it catches. Now, before you make any turns, a dab will do you. Easy does it. You don't want to go cranking it like that. You want to just little turns, because if you turn it too much and if you get resistance, stop, because if you don't, you can snap the truss rod and render your guitar essentially useless. So we're going to pull it down like this just a little bit. I may have to go in at a different angle here. So we're just going to make our adjustments here, and after you do little turns, you want to repeat the process of train. You want to go ahead and tune it. Then you want to repeat the process of how you checked the neck relief before. So I'm going to use my straight edge. And yeah, see, that little adjustment fixed the problem. So now this is going to be at a comfortable position to play in for me. So that was incredibly easy to do, wasn't it? Right? So there's the relief. Then we have action. Now, to set up the action on an acoustic, it's a little bit harder to do. Fortunately, this one is, like I said, I've already played this one and stuff. So fortunately, this one is good. But what you would have to do with the action on this beyond the 12th fret is what we're talking about. So if beyond the 12th fret, it's harder to play, like it feels like the strings are higher, you would have to actually shave down this bridge or this saddle. So you'd have to take it out and like take some sandpaper and sand it down, or you can cut grooves into it where the strings are resting on there. Intonating an acoustic guitar is not really the easiest thing to do either. You just got to kind of hope that the saddle there is good to go. Which again, fortunately, this one is. Not a lot of people are playing past the 12th fret on an acoustic, so that's okay if the intonation's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but if it's not the greatest, it's fine. Your cowboy chords are going to be in tune. And then the last part is noodle or nut. The nut is very well cut. I noticed that while I was changing the string, so I don't need to do anything with that. So the only thing that's left to do is noodle. Now, again, the guitar's probably going to, yeah, you probably see my SpongeBob pants, super professional, right? The guitar's probably going to go out of tune a little bit. But again, that's okay. That's part of setting it up. So playing it will stretch the strings and get it back in tune. So let's see what it sounds like. A little out of tune. Now we're in tune. Let's actually see what it sounds like. All right. So this thing is set up and ready to play. Like I said, out of the box, it was pretty much set up, but after you do a string change, you kind of just want to do a once over just to make sure everything's staying the same, especially if you're upping your string gauge or you're changing your string gauge. You could be lowering it, it could affect it. So, and it's already staying in tune. I mean, again, I told you the tuning on this thing is rock solid. I've had more expensive acoustics than this take longer to adjust on the tuning. That is insane. So yeah, again, if you watch this video beginning to end and you made it to this point, excuse me, and you got one of these, congratulations, because these are really nice guitars. Now, again, this is an Acoustic-Electric. I know I didn't do any acoustic demos here, but I do have a full demo video of this guitar on my YouTube channel. If you want to explore more specs about it, you want to learn more about it, you want to hear it more in action, acoustically and electrically, you can do that. Electrically, is that a word? I don't know. But thank you very much again for watching this video. I appreciate it. I hope that I gave you some knowledge to help you set up your guitar, specifically your Ashthorpe C-85. Again, if you were sent this video from Ashthorpe, congratulations on getting a really nice guitar. And thank you, Ashthorpe, for sponsoring these two videos, this setup video, and then the initial review video. I greatly appreciate it. Again, make sure you subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If not, check me out on YouTube. My name is Jonathan. I run the Electric Flamingo channel over there. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy your guitar. I hope you were able to set it up. I hope you use this video for future reference. Send it to somebody else that might need it. Greatly appreciate it. Y'all take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.